Hey everybody, welcome. It is time for our very first weekly walkthrough of Term 1 in 2025. So welcome to ENG 107. My name is Jackie Pierce. I am your instructor for the next 8 weeks, and I also host the weekly ENG 107 workshops that run from week 2 through week 7. So not this week, but starting next week. Those occur on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I am the host of those. So if you are able to tune into those live, it's a great chance to ask some questions. They occur whenever we have major writing assignments. So which is why we don't have one this week and why we don't have one in week 8. But I also give you every Monday this exact thing, what I call a weekly walkthrough, where we go over all the assignments. So these are always, these aren't live, of course, but the workshops are. So if you have questions, say you watch the video on Monday and something doesn't make sense, it's a great chance to log in and get your questions asked in real time. They are held in Teams. And they are also recorded, so I will post those recordings in the announcements as well. But for you, those of you in my section, you will get a weekly walkthrough video every Monday. I do really highly encourage you to watch the video before you tackle the work for the week. Plan on watching it early in the week and getting your work started early. Assignments are due on Sunday night when a week starts on Monday. So you have a whole week to finish everything. But if you get started early, it gives you a chance also if you run into any problems to ask questions and that sort of stuff. So we will do our first walkthrough with what's happening in week 1. Now, week 1 is a fairly low-key week. You only have one graded assignment. You do have a discussion board to do, but you don't have to worry about grades on that one. You don't have to worry about responding to each other, although I do highly encourage you to go ahead and get in that mode because we will be responding to others on all of the discussion boards. So, how we'll proceed each week is by looking at the class and literally walking through what you should be doing each week. Before we get into Unit 1, I will mention some of the important links in the course in general. The announcements, of course, that's your homepage when you sign in anyway, so any announcements that I have posted will be visible there. They also don't go away. So this particular weekly walkthrough will still be available in week 6 if you have a question about week 1. They never go anywhere. So you can scroll back in time and see all of the old announcements. The course information contains vital information, literally, that you will be looking at in week 1. You do want to go through in Unit 1 and explore the course information, check out the Meet Your Instructor, and all of those good things. This is the link to the workshops that I mentioned on Tuesday nights, but again, it's weeks 2 through 7. And then we have a discussion board that is called Ask the Instructor. This is blank right now because nobody's posted a question yet, but this is specifically for you to post questions about the course. Now, this is a public discussion forum. So if you have a question about your own individual grade, I would not post it on this board. I would email me and you can find my email in the Ask the Instructor. Meet your instructor. I do ask that if you email questions that you make sure you are sending that email from your post-university student email and not a private email. I may never see it if you send it from a Yahoo or a Gmail or something like that. So please, treat this as if this were your job for the next 8 weeks and you need to use the company's email address. But if you have a question about the assignment, how to complete it, that sort of thing, it's a great idea to use the Ask the Instructor board because you're probably not the only one with that question. You can also click this subscribe button, and this will alert you every time somebody posts something. So either a question or me answering it or whatever. So do make use of the Ask the Instructor in all your classes. It is a great resource. But again, keep in mind, it is not private. So if you have a question about something that you got wrong on a test or something, some grade that you weren't happy with, that is a much better use of private email. Okay, just to keep that in mind. All right, so let's go to Unit 1. Unit 1's theme is growth, and each of our units will have a word that is kind of the key theme. The course is called Power of Words, so it makes sense that each week has a word associated with it. So for growth, we're going to be looking at grit, overcoming failure, progress, and a very important term that we call growth mindset. Grit and growth mindset are both terms that you will hear a lot in leadership studies and in work-related writing. So these are some concepts that we're going to get into early on, and we're going to follow them kind of throughout the course. So you will be thinking about your own experiences and how grit and growth mindset maybe have served you well in the past or can serve you well in the future. You're also going to be thinking about what you have done previously in terms of writing experiences. And a lot of people, when they think of writing, they think of writing things like music or poems or novels. And of course, we're not really doing that kind of writing in this particular class. We're focused on academic writing, which is its own kind of set of rules and regulations. We're also going to be thinking about time management and how that can impact your student success. So even though this is an English class, a lot of the concepts that we focus on are going to help you be a better student. They're going to help you do better in the job world as well. So I welcome you to embrace those things and really dig into the course. So each week we start with this overview that includes the activities. As I mentioned, you do want to review the course information page. You'll notice that's the very first thing here. Part of that will be to download and save the course syllabus so that you can review it over and over again. You're going to introduce yourself in our discussion forum, and you're going to read, view, and engage with readings and resources. Now, I will mention that most of the time when we go through these modules, these units, the readings and resources will be the very next thing after the overview. This week, you don't really need to have done the readings and resources to give your own personal introduction. So the discussion board comes first. The units are designed to be done in this order. So you always want to start by going over the review or the reviewing the overview. I can use words. And then you'll want to do the readings and resources. Now, this week you can do the introductions very quickly if you want to start with that. But in future weeks, you'll notice readings and resources comes first. Since we'll take these things in order, let's go ahead and look at the Unit 1 discussion and how to complete it. This course is designed to focus on different topics and subjects that matter to you. We are constantly interested in finding out things that matter to our students. So, in the initial response, tell the class a little bit about yourself and share 3 items that are meaningful to you. Explain why you chose those 3 items. Then, share your writing story. So, there's really 2 parts to this. One is you. The other is writing. Okay, so share your writing story, and there are some questions here to guide you. How much writing have you done before coming to this class? How comfortable are you with writing? And what is one question you have about writing that you hope to have answered in this course? Now, I'm going to show you a trick that works really well for folks, and that is I'm going to copy the prompt. I'm doing this because I want to make sure that when I post my response that I answer all of the questions. Now, you don't have to copy and paste it into your own response. You can just write your response, But I find that a lot of times if people don't really, copy and paste this somewhere, they often end up not answering part of the questions. And of course, that could result in some point loss. This week, there's no points, so it's fine. But it's just a good habit to get into. And then as you continue throughout the week, um, you do want to post your own response fairly early in the week. So in order to give you time to respond to others, because normally you will need to respond to at least two others before the end of the week on Sunday night. This week, it's not a big deal, but do come back, respond to your peers. Do you see any items that are similar to your items? Jump back into the conversation and say hello to your peers. Okay. Now, how do you post on a discussion board? We click on the link and we see that Brianna has already posted, which is awesome. I'm going to also post as a sample here. So we're going to click on the create thread and I'm going to put oops, I can't spell today or I can't type. Okay. Now, you notice I pasted or copied those questions. So I'm going to now paste them. And the reason I like to do this again is because then I don't forget to include something. So we're going to make some room and we're going to put our response to each of the parts. So I'm going to make this part bold because this isn't part of my writing. And then I'm going to introduce myself. Okay, so there might be my response to the to that. So I'm going to share my writing story next. I'm going to make that bold again because it is part of the prompt. I'm going to make this statement bold, and of course, this is where I would write my own response. So I unbolded um okay. How comfortable am I with writing? Bold that, unbold. You could do it opposite. You could keep the prompt part unbolded and then bold your own. You can do whatever you want to. Um, you should give more detail than me with this sample. Okay. And um, okay, so there's my quick sample. I'm going to then scroll down and I'm going to click submit. And then you will see that that entry is now also on there with the with Brianna's. When you want to read someone's, you just click on it and it'll open up for you. And then you would be able to respond by clicking reply. I'm going to go ahead and apply to Brianna while we're here. Okay. And because it may say sample student, I'm going to say I'm going to sign it. I don't normally sign them, but it did show who I am this time, which is pretty cool. All right, so that is your first official assignment to complete the discussion board. Now we're going to look at the readings and resources. As I mentioned, typically you would look at your readings and resources before the discussion, but everything is in order, so take it in order. In the readings and resources folder, you will always find a takeaway, which has some inspirational quotes and things of that nature. And then you will find reading assignments. We use this book a lot, AP Johnson's academic writing book from 2016. This week, you've got two chapters to read, 15 and 16, on grammar and punctuation. A lot of folks get really worried about grammar and punctuation, and it is super important. I will mention to you, though, that you, as post-university students, also have the ability to save and use Grammarly on your own computers. So that can be a big help with grammar and punctuation, as well as, of course, spell and grammar check and other kinds of things. But anyway, grammar and punctuation will be the two chapters that you read this week. Articles, websites, and videos. We do have an article on growth mindset by Carol Dweck. She is the originator of that term. And so this is from a 2010 article called Even Geniuses Work Hard. In order to read the items, all you have to do is click on the link. It will make you sign in to the library because, of course, these are materials that are paid for, but this is what it'll look like. I'm going to open the article instead of the chapter, but you will sign in and it will show you the library information about the source. In order to read the article, in this case, you will use the access options and you can choose either online full text or a PDF. If you have the option, I always like to use the PDFs because it will show me what it really looked like in the original. You also can download this and save it to your work. And we're not citing anything this week, but I want to point out while we're here, this is the magic cite button where you will find official APA citations for all of our sources. And we will be citing sources throughout the course. So this is a good reminder that that is there for you. So let's click on PDF. And there is the article in all of its glory. Like I said, the reason I like to put PDF in if I can is because I get to see the pictures and everything else. A regular plain text will not show you all that extra stuff. So always nice to see the good stuff. Next, we have videos, and the videos, of course, are helpful for people who maybe are not as great at reading as they are at watching videos. But on the opposite side, sometimes we have folks who have a hard time following along with a video and do better with the readings. So you will notice that there's always both. And it is important that even if it's not your favorite way of getting information, that you do all the readings and that you watch all of the videos. And so we have a couple more videos on growth mindset. All right. Next, you are ready for your single graded entry this week, and that is a journal. Every other week in ENG 107, we have what's called a journal entry. And you'll notice that here is the quick overview of what journaling is. Journaling is a relaxed, reflective assignment that allows you to practice writing and apply what you have learned in the lesson. Every other week, you will be asked a short series of questions on a specific topic. Your task is to think about the question and write down your thoughts about it in 6 or more sentences. There are no right or wrong answers. However, one of the most important things about the journals is that these need to come from your own personal experience. So it's not just about what you think, it's about what you have actually been through and experienced. So this week, the prompt says, what is your first reaction when things get tough? What does this help you understand about yourself as a learner? And when was a time you showed grit and it paid off? Now, just like the discussion Some folks may want to copy these questions so that you have them to refer back to again and again. We're going to click on the link, and this works just like a discussion board, but it is private. So I am the only one who gets to see what you write in your journal entries. Create journal entry. You'll give it a title, and then you will write your response in here. Again, you don't have to put the questions, but I find it helpful sometimes because you'll notice they're not on this page. So if that helps you, I think it's a great idea to try to do that. You can even do what we did with the discussion part, and you can write it directly after each of the questions, or you can write it below. Keep in mind, you can also use different fonts. You can make your writing bigger. You can do whatever you want here. If you like a particular font better, you could write in whatever font you want. You could make it a different color. You can use bold. You can use all of those things. And when you're done writing, you will post entry. Notice you can save this as a draft. So if you want to start on it one day and come back to it and keep working on it, you certainly can. It is due by Sunday night. So you will post the entry when you are completely done with it. So that is week one. All you got to do, introduce yourself, talk to a couple of fellow students, write a journal entry. I don't know why I'm getting balloons, but I like it. Maybe this is I know if I do this, I will get hearts. So this is how you get a balloon. Look at me discovering new things. Anyway, I'm so easily distracted by pretty graphics, as you can see with my bees back there. Everybody have a great week. Please do reach out if you have any questions. If they are questions that others might have, post them on the Ask the Instructor discussion board. Otherwise, feel free to email me at any time. My contact information is in the Meet Your Instructor section. So check it out. Have a great week and let me know if you need anything. Take care, everybody. Have a great one.